Legionnaires, and welcome to a special extended family reunion edition of the Wrestling Legion podcast. I am Nick the Geek. I am joined, of course, as always, by my two cohorts in crime, my two friends forever, my two brilliant brains. I'm joined by Andy the Redeemer and Simon. Lads, how are you doing?
All great. It's a bit of a 50-50 here because I'm happy and sad all at the same time.
I know.
Absolutely amazing to see my friend down there. And then, obviously, you got the bad smell on the other side.
We had to have him on. He's a journo. We needed one. Okay. And we are joined today by one fantastic guest and Zane. We are joined by the king himself, Jimmy, baby. How the hell you doing?
I am doing awesome. I'm just glad to be here with you guys. It's been too long, and I'm just looking forward to this. And Zane's here too. I know y'all gonna give him shit. I'm glad to see Zane. I talked to him the other day, but I ain't got a chance to talk wrestling with him in a minute. So I'm good. I'm glad he's here. He can appreciate my takes.
From a secret location in the depths of Pakistan, we are joined by Zane. Zane, how the hell are you doing? It's been a long minute.
It has. I can't wait to disagree with Jimmy. And I can't wait to disagree with you old guys. Wait, can we still not cuss on this show? Like,
oh no, you can swear all you like, just no F-bombs.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was almost about to drop one. Anyway, let's begin.
Right.
Yeah. Can we just give him the proper introduction though? He is the Asian Dave Meltzer.
He is. Really is. That is his future. That is his future. Right. But anyway, let's get on with this, lads. First off, we are going to talk about All In because we were there. Well, three of us were. The three on the top row. We had a great pleasure to be at Wembley last weekend to see arguably one of the cheapest, most expensive wrestling shows in the history of the business. If that makes any sense.
Jimmy, this is a question for you, mate. How much do you think I paid for burger and chips outside the stadium?
I couldn't tell you, man.
£18.
That's $25, mate.
$25.
Yeah. That's US stadium prices, honestly.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Wow.
It is.
Man.
Right, but Jimmy,
and that was without tea. Yeah.
Special guest of honor. I'm going to come to you first. You didn't have the chance to watch All In live, but I'm assuming you have seen the show.
Oh yeah, I watched it live and on TV. I didn't get to go in person. Sadly, I did want to go. Thought it would have been fantastic to go, but I did watch it live. I didn't get the experience y'all got. I thought it was a good show. I thought just the event itself is a pretty big win for AEW. For the most part. I don't rate it as highly as I've seen other people rate it. I'll just say that. There was matches I really, really enjoyed, and there was matches that I thought were just kind of the same old thing we've gotten.
Stadium Stampede. Stadium Stampede. Sorry, need to clear my throat.
But I enjoyed it overall. But I'm sure we'll get to more my I guess praises and complaints as we go along.
Oh, we will. Zane, have you seen All In?
Yeah. Of course I did. I caught it live. I absolutely loved it. Honestly, I think given that I am the only person in the target demographic over here, so my opinion is the only one that matters. I mean, they can aim at this.
Me and Jimmy are still in that target demo. Thanks very much.
It's only me inside that are above the demographic. I'm a freaking fan.
Unfortunately, you guys don't look at. Anyways, but I think that after WrestleMania Night 1, it was the best show of the year. I enjoyed it. So I enjoyed it a lot, top to bottom. Of course, we'll get to it. The CM Punk Jack Perry thing broke out in the middle, and I felt like that would sour the taste of the entire show. In hindsight, it kind of has, but I'm glad that there wasn't anything like the all-out presser right afterwards that did take away from the shine of the show itself. But there were some amazing matches on there, and I even enjoyed the Stadium Stampede. Blame me for it. I like Eddie Kingston getting wins. Let me enjoy some Eddie Kingston wins over here.
No, you're allowed. Your opinion is wrong, Zane, but you are allowed. Andy, I can tell by the look on your face you have a contrasting opinion on Stadium Stampede. Would you care to share?
I have a contrasting opinion on the whole thing. So, obviously, probably got a good, same as all three of us at the top, because we went to both shows this year in terms of WrestleMania and All In, and I thought they missed out on a massive trick because it did not feel like a spectacle. Though, as I said before, the matches were fine. They were great. Obviously, some bad matches, some good matches. But you know, like I remember commenting to you, Sai, saying when we were walking up towards the stadium, you wouldn't have known there was an event on there or what event was on there. You'd seen groups of people, but you didn't know there was no posters. There was nothing to tell you what was actually going on in the stadium. It was only when you actually got right to the stadium that you actually seen on a screen that it was all
your
in.
Ashton's the one who pointed it out. He went, "Hey,
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
over there."
I thought the merch was subpar as well. There was loads of t-shirts. Yeah, there was one t-shirt that was good. There was a couple of other t-shirts, and they had a flag, a small flag, and a what did I get? The scarf. But all in all, I thought they missed a big trick with the way how much merch they had there. They didn't even have a program. There wasn't even a program for the show.
No, there were no
Which
programs
I know this might sound like I'm being picky here, but it's like you want to put that big feeling event on, like Money in the Bank. Walking up to Money in the Bank and outside the stadium and everything else felt more of a big event than what this did. You know, and I just think that they missed the trick by not putting a lot more into it. I mean, you know, I know I shared something with you guys last time where when Money in the Bank was on, it had a couple of buses literally wrapped from head to toe in Money in the Bank WWE all over it, all around London. And AEW literally had a small square on one of the buses.
The Bucks, the Young Bucks, took the piss out of it on being the Elite. They walked past the WWE bus and said, "Where the hell's our bus?"
Uh,
So it's like if the talent are taking the mick out of it, you're doing something.
Yeah, and then also just other bits as well, like, you know, talking from a business standpoint here, because obviously I work in business myself, so I know a little bit about it. You know, I felt like they missed the trick there because, like, am I looking forward to going back again if I go back? Yeah, I'd look forward to going watching the wrestling again, but do I have that same feeling of I've been to a massive thing? No, not the same way that I did with WrestleMania or Money in the Bank. And then also the event itself. So I watched the event back on the telly the other night. It was on over here. And when they were doing the Stadium Stampede match, it's like just bad mistakes. So they had like the bit where Eddie Kingston and Claudio were fighting, and they went into one of the parts that was empty in the arena, which was the one of the boxes. Yeah, and no, it wasn't the press box. It was just one of it was one of the Club Wembley bits that obviously hadn't sold at all. And it was like, and then Tony Schiavone's going, "Oh, the people have seen them coming, they've all ran," and it was like, it's just made us cheap, you know. And I was kind of like that, but you know, as I say, the wrestling was really good. I really enjoyed it. MJF is just over like Rover. He's just completely just like everyone was singing his song, considering it's a song with no words, like the way they were doing it was just fantastic. Yeah, it really was good. But Jim Ross was there on watching it on the telly back as well. Just special shout out to Jim Ross of when it was the Golden Elite versus Bullet Club Gold, and he snaps it out to Tony Schiavone and goes, "Why is the gold everything?"
I don't think they understand the rules of tag team wrestling.
yeah, that was the other one when they would say, and they're not meant to tag there. And I think they forgot how to work tag team wrestling.
Sai, you had to drive us the entire way there and back. You were a lot more tired than we were. You have a slightly different view of the show than we did from that respect. What was your favorite part of it? Where do you think it could have been improved?
So to touch on what Andy said, I think what was missing was like the spectacle. So the stage was minimalistic. The wrestling was fantastic, but there weren't enough promos. There wasn't enough attempts to kind of connect with the audience, to kind of interact with the audience on TV and in the arena. It just felt a little bit flat, like it was like 2D. You know, it was like it was happening, but there was no real connection. That's what I think was missing: the spectacle and the connection. But having said that, apart from like the lag from driving like 450
a long
miles
way
a day, which wasn't that much fun. Highlight seeing Sting live was amazing. Seeing Fozzy perform, 3/4 of a song was amazing. The Ospreay Jericho match for me was the match of the night. That's fantastic. I've still not had a chance to watch it back. But being there live was good. Would I rush back next year? I don't know. If they learn and then they improve, sure. We'll see what happens. But it's up there. It was a really good show in my mind, but not quite on Mania levels, which I think is what they were trying.
So I have a small question. Sorry for you guys who actually went to the show. what was something that you felt did not come across if you guys watched the show back? What do you think did not come across on television as well as it did while you were sitting there in the audience?
The
Like,
crowd.
I haven't had the chance to watch it back last live, but
Crowd.
I'm assuming the crowd.
The crowd did not come across at all as well as what.
On TV the crowd was not hot. There was moments where they were really good, and there was other moments where I was like, man, this is not the crowd I was expecting. So I expect a really good AEW crowd, and I always expect a good UK crowd. So the combination is honestly what made me want to go to this show to begin with. I was like, I can't miss being in this environment. It didn't come across that way at all.
That's
No,
the
it didn't.
crazy
But
thing.
just to rely on size point is one of the things that they didn't do very well was the whole placement of the show. So where they had the stage on the side with the entrance and stuff, they had an entrance blocked off at the other end, and it was like you could have put a big stage there. You could have had a big stage there, but they didn't.
There's other
And
things
then
well, like
also
they
didn't
didn't
have the ring in
the
the
middle
central.
of the pitch.
He had it
was
more over towards the other side. So the
two-thirds.
people on this side were too far away as well. So it just disjointed everything.
Like,
And then
for
they
me-
also, I don't know if anyone got onto it, they also tried to be very clever, which was stupid. And the ring seats, if you look at them from a bird's eye view, actually made out the Union Jack, which I just thought was stupid. Because they left a big gap because of that. They left a massive gap as well.
Yeah. Well, for me, it came across too much like I loved the show. Don't get me wrong. Being in that crowd, because it may not have come across well on TV, but while you were there, it really did come across. Being in that crowd, being part of history was something else. But a large part of it felt like Tony Khan was trying to impersonate SummerSlam 92. It felt like he went for a similar setup. It felt like he went for a similar seating program. The ring was in the same place that Vince put the ring when he did Wembley in the old stadium. And there was, just like you said, Andy, it was great, but there was just the spectacle of WrestleMania wasn't there. Maybe because we went to Mania this year, my first Mania, like the spectacle of WrestleMania, like Sai, you'll back me up on this. When we walked into Mania, that stage, when you walked into Mania, took your breath away. It was just like, oh, it was amazing. And when we walked into All In, it was just like, oh, there's a ring over there.
Yeah, the thing was though as well, as I think it was you or I can't remember which one of you it was, turned around, said to me, "Where's the stage?" And I had to look and went, "Oh yeah, it's over there."
That's me. That's me. But Jimmy, as a man who only got to watch it on pay-per-view, if I was to force you to rate this show against other AEW pay-per-views, where would you put it?
All time?
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I couldn't give you an honest placement, but I don't think it's even top 3.
I'm in agreement.
That's just me. That's just me, though.
No, I think Forbidden Door 2 is the best show AEW have ever put on.
I think Forbidden.
No.
The first Forbidden Door is the best one they've done, in my opinion.
I like Forbidden Door 1. That was good.
Yeah,
All Out 2021. That's by
All Out
far the best
2021
thing.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was like show. That was, you could have called that show of the year in 2021. Honestly.
Yeah.
But to be fair,
David,
go ahead.
WWE with Mania is a focus on the spectacle aspect more than a wrestling aspect, and AEW seems to come at things from an opposite angle: sports entertainment show versus professional wrestling show.
yeah, I think that's right, David. But I think when you're doing a stadium of that magnitude, you've got to put on a spectacle.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have to,
it's-
because I don't believe they'll do as well next year or sell as many as quick.
It's
If they
like I get the point that AEW is supposed to be more indie-rific than WWE. It always has been. It's supposed to be an indie show on a grand scale. But when you're running the biggest arena in a country, it doesn't. In England, you don't get bigger than Wembley Stadium. Like, you need to do something to project that spectacle, and I just don't think he did.
yeah,
So
they
To use the musical example, so yeah, I mean, everyone's got different musical tastes. You can like seeing a local indie band in your local bar in front of 20 people. You can love that. You can like going and seeing Beyonce in front of 90,000 in a stadium. But if you're going to take an indie band or a band that isn't as well known and you're going to put them in a stadium, you better do the stadium stuff, you know, with the pyro and the sets and the glitz and the glamour. And that's what they didn't do.
to play
does
defense for
anybody see
AEW for a
Chris
little bit.
Jericho?
No.
Let me find this and show you this,
But-
because
To
Go on,
defend them just a little bit. This is their first big show. To
True.
be fair,
Yeah.
and you're not gonna get it right. You're just not. I think they did a lot of good things right. Hopefully, they can build upon it. They can grow from it. And I have no doubt that next year's will be as far as the spectacle looking thing and the feel and all that, I feel like they're going to capitalize and it's going to be a bigger feel next year.
I think my only issue with the show itself was, I don't think it's been brought up, is that it was so closely spaced to All Out. And now
absolutely.
some of the
I was going to get to that.
big matches. Oh, I'm sorry. Go for it.
No, you go for it, Zane. I was going to get to that.
Yeah.
We're already there. Move
Yeah,
on.
because the issue is that there were so many big matches. We were like, oh, there are multi-man matches on All In, so maybe we're going to get them at All Out. But there's no time to build for them. Like, there's just a week. So how do you build anything? And next year also, there's going to be, like, I think a week's difference between All In and All Out. And I just personally think that's the worst thing around All In right now.
No, the worst thing is when they announced
sure.
Shake It All About as the third pay-per-view 2 weeks after All Out. And they start doing the hokey cokey round about Christmas.
Also, the merch thing that Andy brought up. I went to some of AEW's early shows, and the merch stand was atrocious. I went to the Collision a few weeks ago, and it is night and day different. So again, this is one of the things I think they are learning from. I saw the merch stand they had in Wembley. It was nothing to like write home about, but it was significantly better than anything they used to have. And again, I think this is all just kind of a learning experience. Unfortunately, we're having to grow with them. So we're going to be like, well, that's not how it, but
it's like I said to Andy, we went to Ring of Honor while we were over watching Mania. And Andy and I went to the merch stand down there, and all they had was 4 t-shirts, a hat, and a hoodie.
Yeah.
And that was all available. So this was a vast improvement on that.
The first AW show I went to, they had 2 shirts, 3 action figures, a flag, and stickers. And the shirts, they didn't even have all the sizes available. So,
oh man, that's not
they've
good.
gotten better. They have gotten better.
Yeah, I'm gonna let me just show this on screen right quickly because this is something that Jericho shared. Jesus Christ!
Oh no, is this what you told me about before?
Yeah.
You're
gonna love it. You're gonna love this, mate.
This is hilarious.
Okay, let me just.
Technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
You can tell Andy's old.
He's not old.
Shut up, you. You little virgin. Where is it?
Yeah, we're just supposed to sit here till Andy struggles with technology.
Well, you can fill the dead air all you like, Zane. I just apologize to the
audience.
audience.
I'll just talk
this
about
is how much. This is how much of a mark that Chris Jericho is.
Here we go.
Window. Which one is it? Where is it not showing?
See,
we don't need a graphic.
I'm being proven right now.
Hey.
Yeah.
There we are.
Right there. Sorry. No, but that's not the picture. Here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Right. So Aerosmith Fenway Park. This is.
So yeah, Aerosmith, 38,700 spectators. The Beatles in Shea Stadium, 55,000. AC/DC at Donington, 72,500. Wembley Stadium for Fozzy, 81,000.
You want to know what's funny about this? My girlfriend asked me, "Hey, why is he performing for himself?" I said, "So that he can go online and tell everybody that he performed in front of 81,000 people." And then boom, there he goes.
That's exactly what he did it for. That's exactly what he's done it for.
That is king shit out of him.
What that is proof of what Don Callis said about Chris Jericho has the biggest ego in wrestling. Hello, Russ.
What up, Ross?
Hey,
Russ is just being nice and a dick all in the one sentence.
I
know. Get him off the screen. That is enough of that. I like you, Russell. That is not acceptable.
I love you, Russell. I love you. That's great. Keep it up.
Right, be quiet, Zane, or I will mute you. Right. Anyway, gents, that is enough on All In. Now we are going to a subject that is adjacent to All In because it happened at All In. It was announced last night that Tony Khan has taken upon himself to fire CM Punk. Now, I have a distinct opinion on this, but I'm going to let everyone else go first. And we're going to go anti-clockwise. So, Jimmy, have at it, sir.
Man. I don't even know what to say, honestly, after the fight. Because I was ready to say some shit before. But now he's fired, and it's like, man, I don't know. Like, this is just wild to me. It's very wild. someone recalled, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was a part after CM Punk beat Samoa Joe where he looked to the crowd or the camera and he waved and he said, "So long," or something along those lines. Did anybody else see that?
Goodbye.
Yeah,
He said goodbye.
Caught that on the big screen while we were there.
Do you think that he knew this was going to happen? And if that's the case, wouldn't it be a mutual parting instead of him being fired?
Well, apparently he turned around and shouted, didn't he?
Yeah, I quit.
As he lunged at Tony Khan, "I quit, you prick," or something like that.
If you want to listen to Dirt Sheets, but there you go. That's what I wanted to say to begin with.
Okay.
How many times in the past do you think these kinds of incidents have happened back in the day? How many times?
Dozens, if not hundreds.
Did it ever bother you
back
guys?
in the day is different.
Well, no, it's not.
Back in the
Hold
days,
on. Let me finish.
not.
Let me finish. Did it ever bother you guys?
No.
A matter of fact, never once did it deter your enjoyment of the show, correct?
Correct.
Because it doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly.
The idea that people think that these things matter anymore is just weird, especially when through time, this kind of stuff has happened time and time and time again. But the problem now is you have dirt sheets and people on social medias that think that their opinions matter more than they really do, and they're just like da 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 da. And then you get gangbusters on people. Like, well, I want to be on the right side of things. I don't want to be on the wrong side of things. And then it just fucking spreads like wildfire.
Did everyone see FTR with on Collision?
I didn't even watch.
No.
I haven't seen Collision, but yeah. And that's another point to bring up as well. But my main point is this whole incident before he got fired was what kind of caused me to like, I'm done. I don't even want to know shit anymore. I don't look at timelines anymore because I don't want to see dirt sheets and all, because it takes away from the reason we watch it.
Yeah,
We're supposed to be enjoying what's on the television, not the drama that might or might not be unfolding backstage, because at the end of the day, realistically, none of us really know what happened.
No,
we're just
none of us were there.
We hear a story and we pick what we want to believe based on what I want to be right. Well, they're telling the story that I believe, so yeah, they're probably telling the truth. Time and time again, people always bitch that dirt sheets lie. They lie. They spread lies to get them clicks.
Yeah.
Why is this any different?
It's not.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
if you look at Andy got hold of one of the first reports while we were still in the stadium that stated that Jack Perry went backstage and basically got shoulder to shoulder with Punk and chest bumped him. So my argument behind all of this, Si, I'll come to you on this, is if CM Punk has been punished, why hasn't Jack Perry?
I mean, that's one question. Particularly, and we don't know what to
He's been
believe and what not
suspended.
to believe, right?
Sorry to cut you off, Si. He's been suspended.
Yeah,
Also,
but Punk was also suspended.
hold on real quick. Apparently, allegedly, someone sent me a snippet, and allegedly Jack Perry was also sought to possibly be terminated over the situation. How true that was, you don't know. But again, just to be fair in the aspect of this, that was something that was said. But again,
I get for Tony Khan, these are new issues. He's not Vince McMahon. He's not been doing it for 30 years. But you have to have consistency, right? So when he went on screen and he said that he was in fear for his life, fear for his safety, he felt threatened, other people were endangered backstage. I mean, okay, first thought is what a load of woke bullshit. That just wouldn't have happened 30 years ago. Can you imagine Vince McMahon, right, the night that Brett quit, threw a punch at him, coming on TV afterwards and being like, "Oh, I've never been endangered in wrestling before." It just wouldn't have happened. It's just, but if you are going to do this, you need consistency. And the fact that Jack Perry used real glass in a match and then rubbed it in Punk's face, if that is to be believed, then that is endangering somebody's life. The fact that Jeff Hardy's out there drink driving, that is endangering people's lives. So you need to treat everybody equally. But
Cash
for some reason,
pulled a gun on somebody.
Yeah,
I mean,
Cash
that's
pulled a gun on a guy.
There you go. But the fact that there's these inconsistencies, and once again, Punk just seems to be vilified. When the first time in my book, it was Stephen Waltz that started it. He was the catalyst that caused all the problems. This time, it was Jack Perry. But all TK seems to do is look at the effect and not the cause. And to me, that's a big part of the problem.
Agreed. Zane, I'm assuming you
so-
have a slightly different
Yeah.
opinion to the rest of us.
Slightly, it's a bit of an understatement. So I get Jimmy's point, right? And I do understand where, like, to the point where we can't really trust who's saying what, and we're all picking our own stories and what to believe. But there is, like, with regards to Tony Khan, you know how big of a mark he is for CM Punk, right? Like when CM Punk returned, like these were verified reports from all sides. Like he was chanting CM Punk. He stood up in Gorilla and he started chanting CM Punk. That big of a mark he is. And you could see, like last night, even on Collision, when he came out to make the announcement, he was a bit shook. As far as this is concerned, the entire investigation and the fact that there is he seek legal counsel from outside of the company, and the recent report that Wendy had the entire incident recorded. So I think that is something that gives more credence to Tony Khan's decision, right? Because if it is recorded, and I was reading it somewhere that if the matter is taken into court, then the recording will come out in discovery, and everyone will see the recording. Now it is up to CM Punk if he does want to take it to court, right? Well, that's an entire thing on its own, right? Put that aside. I think the fact that there's concrete evidence over there, and he can't just go out and say that he seek legal counsel from someone outside the company and that being false, right? If it was a unanimous decision, both, like, let's just not consider the votes of the disciplinary committee from within the company, right? That could be biased. For all we know, that's like the elite Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, right? But legal counsel from outside the company who unanimously decide upon saying that CM Punk has to be fired, I think that needs to hold some credence. As to size fact, like why Jeff Hardy or Cash Wheeler weren't fired, I think that the issue is that it became a dangerous workplace environment, right? If you have people attacking or putting other people in headlocks backstage in a work environment, and the fact that he came for Tony Khan himself. Now, again, I don't really know how much true this is, but Dave Meltzer said that lunging was also an understatement, that there was more of a physical threat posed to Tony Khan.
Yeah, the problem is you started that sentence with the words Dave Meltzer.
Can I put in one thing, Zane?
Yeah.
Because you're saying that Punk is endangering the safety backstage and everything.
Yeah.
Isn't what Cash did endangering your biggest show of the year? Because one of the marquee matchups was the Young Bucks versus the FTR. But there's a real possibility that he wouldn't have been able to make the show because of his actions, which would have endangered the biggest show of the year, which is just as bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
No, I think physical life is more important than endangering a show. Right?
Shut up, you dirty dickhead.
Not in business.
Sorry, just interrupt for a second, right? You were saying that the decision was made by an external panel, and yeah, we can give some credence to that, sure. But Tony Khan said himself at the start of Rampage that ultimately it was his decision, in his own words.
Yeah, but it was his decision inspired by other people's counsel, right?
Personal responsibility is the thing, though. You know, you've got to take own up to your own action.
Can I just say, this whole thing and everything else that's happened over the past year is all down to Tony Khan, because,
agreed.
You know, if we go back as far as Cody when he set himself on fire, it's like, do you really think in a WWE ring that would have happened? Or take away from WWE, you know, I said this myself in my work, for instance, some of my staff will come to me and they'll say, we want to do this. And I'll either say yes or no, or I'll say, right, I need to go and speak to the higher ups. You know, even on my level, I still have people I have to answer to.
Yeah.
But it's like, it seems like in AEW, they just do what they want. Like, I'm not being funny, but using, for instance, Jack Perry using real glass. Why on earth should he ever be able to use real glass? You know,
Punk wasn't even the first one that told him not to do it. Punk was like,
yeah. But the whole thing is, Punk. You're missing the whole point, though, Jim. Is Punk should never have to say that because Tony Khan should be doing that.
No, I agree with that. But I was just bringing up another thing that
it's like, and this is the whole problem. Like, you know, I laugh and joke about JR with his little comments that he makes and stuff like that. Do you really think if he's in WWE, he's getting away with doing that?
No.
As not like, you know, not damaging it is or funny. He wouldn't get away with it, mate. You know, same way when Cody set himself on fire, WWE just wouldn't let him do it. And this is the problem you see is like, these people should not be allowed to just go out and do this type of thing. It should, and if anybody's the one that's telling him not to do it, it should be Tony Khan. You know, he's getting a big company now. He needs that structure in place where it's like, he keeps saying that he's the guy that makes the decisions and the rules and that, but to me, it doesn't seem that way. It seems like the decisions are getting made by the wrestlers, Yeah, and he's just going, okay, that's fine, as long as this is the finish or whatever it may be.
Well,
That's what's happening, and that shouldn't be the case.
I
It shouldn't
agree.
be. And then also from a business point of view, whose stupid idea was it to announce last night that they terminated CM Punk right before they run back-to-back shows in Chicago? Why couldn't you have waited till Monday? I'm sure you could have silenced them with an NDA or whatever it was, because no one's here from Punk.
No.
And it's like, why would you, to me, that you're damaging your own business by releasing it before you go to a place where CM Punk's a god for 2 nights
But I
when you
think-
need a big show.
I think there were if Punk wasn't on either of the shows, there were going to be CM Punk chants, right? Regardless. So
But they weren't going to
putting out the termination letter.
building.
Yeah, I think it's just to give more closure or a more conclusive.
But you might
thing
have
to it
got,
as
you
soon
might
as
have
possible.
got, but when he's suspended, right, you might have got the CM Punk chance or what have you. But now that he's being terminated, that kind of light-hearted CM Punk chant turns into real hostility.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have
So-
fans that are watching AEW because of CM Punk, and now I've already seen it. They're saying, I'm not watching anymore because the whole reason I was watching was CM
So-
Punk. So you're going to have
Jim-
those people in the crowd looking to cause those problems.
Frank, so technically what you're saying is that Tony Khan's announcement has put people's lives in danger.
No way, bro.
Hey, could do, mate. I mean,
Right.
as I say, I just feel like, do I feel Punk's totally innocent in all this? Hell no.
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 Do you know what I mean? It's one of them where he probably hasn't articulated himself in the right way, and he's got really frustrated over
Here's-
time. But
Here's the
to
thing.
me, it was Tony Khan who put him in that position.
Well,
He
here's
should
the thing.
never
agree
have been in
with
that
that.
position.
The original problem with CM Punk's argument that started at last year at All Out started because Hangman Page went into a verbal confrontation with him and went into business for himself because he said some stuff that he didn't clear with Punk first. The exact same thing has happened at All In when Jack Perry decided to cut that little line on TV without clearing it with Punk first.
Which is how they operate.
Which is how they operate. As you just said, Andy, that wouldn't happen in WWE.
Well, mate, I'm telling you now. Do you know
I have a
if I
question.
was in my work, right? Just one sec. If I was in my work, right, and I had 2 members of staff like that, I'd drag them both in a room and say, "You need to be professional. Sort this out, right?"
Yep.
But then I'd also turn around and I'd pull it. Say it was one person who, like, I do sales, for instance, right? So if I had one we've had it before. Won't go into detail, but where somebody's robbed somebody else's sale. When someone's phoned back to take the sale, they've sold it and put it on their stats, right? So we've had murder over this before, where people have had like verbals in the office and stuff. I've pulled them both off the floor, knock it on the head, this, and I let them go. Then I pull the person back in who's done this, who took the sale off someone and said, "You're out of order. You shouldn't have done that. That was not yours to do that. Don't let that happen again. Job done." Okay.
Yeah.
Also we've had people who sit there and verbalise about the company policy, and I've gone back to them and said, "Well, this is what we do. This is how we do. If you don't like it, then suggest you go and look for another job." Or whatever it may be, because this is what we're doing. This is how it's happening, right? Now, it's also as well, I've had people someone who's walked in late, for instance, and someone's made a comment about it, and I've turned around, as much as I go and have a word with the person who's being late, I will turn around to the person who have a comment and say, it's not your position or your business to be commenting on that, so shut up and go and do your work and keep out of that. Do you know what I mean? So what I'm trying to get at here is there's multiple caveats to this. Is one, if Tony Khan wants to let this happen, he should have told Punk a long time ago, "Shut up and I'll do what I'm doing here," right?
Like when he
Or-
started
but
up at the press conference to begin with.
Yeah.
He should have shut him down there, and then, but he didn't. Then also, if he wasn't happy with if Tony Khan's happy to let them put themselves through real glass or do whatever they do, he should turn around to Punk and say, "Again, it's my decision. Shut up. It's nothing to do with you." But what it seems like here is Tony's not happy with it, but instead of going and telling people, he's letting Punk do his work for him. And again, he's basically hung Punk out to dry by doing that.
Yeah.
The way Punk again's articulated himself's not correct, but at the same time, you can't turn around and basically, I feel like Tony Khan's put Punk on the shopping block.
I agree. No, I'd agree. No one is blameless in this situation. Jack Perry's not blameless. Punk isn't blameless. Tony Khan's not blameless. The problem is, and I agree with what Jimmy said before, and I'm going to come to you, Jim, on this, is no offense, Zane, because you're a dirt sheet writer. It's you lot that are the problem.
Dirt cheap bastard.
Oh, come on. No,
No,
I have.
you are on my show. You will be silent, sir, or I shall mute thee.
I don't know if Zayn does the clickbait shit. I don't know. I think he just does.
He does. That was the smile. Yes, he does.
Oh my god!
you.
I try to defend him. I'm trying to be nice to him.
Right. Basically,
Let's push me back.
I'll come to you on this, Jim. Right. The dirt sheets are responsible for jacking up the fury within professional wrestling fans to an unattainable level. Like you said, when we were kids back in the 90s watching the Attitude Era, you never heard about all the fights between Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar backstage, or between
Yes, you did.
Batista and you did.
I
If
did.
you subscribe to the people you talk, you did.
I didn't pay
Exactly.
attention to him.
Right, but unless you subscribe to those dirt sheets, you didn't hear about them. People just enjoyed the show for what it was, and it wasn't blown up out of proportion. Now, I'll come to you, Zane, because it's you lot that do it. Right? How do you think the dirt sheets can mitigate the damage that they do to people's careers, right, by releasing this information?
Here's the thing. Let me just tell you the thing, right? Putting the blame on dirt sheet writers, that's like saying
No.
okay.
I said nobody is blameless. Right?
Yeah,
but
I know.
the dirt sheets have to be held partially accountable because they report 5 different stories from 5 different sources that are all unnamed.
That's a great point because literally the story has changed how many times since
At least
it first
5.
broke?
Okay,
At least
so
5.
here's the thing. Let me clarify, or I'm not even going to make a case for dirt sheet writers. I know there is some blame to be put on them, like putting out a story that isn't verified yet. Like even Sean Ross Sapp, who I personally think is the best in the game, right? His initial story was that Perry got into Punk's face, and then that story changed, right? I think that as far as them putting out stories is concerned, them putting out backstage information, as long as it's correct, I don't think that's an issue. Because
but this is the
the
thing.
job of the
How
dirt
do
sheet
we
writers
know
is to provide information.
but
There
how do
are
we know
rules
it's
there.
correct when it's changing so many times?
When Matt Hardy is your source and then he goes on Twitter making fun of the whole Punk situation, how am I supposed to take that source seriously?
Yeah, but
I
that's
know
based
he's
on
one of the ones spilling the beans. There's no way he's not.
There's
Yeah,
rules
but that's
across
based
all
on
media
poor dirt
about-
sheet
about
writing, simply, right?
Say again, sir.
There's a responsibility across all forms of media nowadays to not incite anything, and
Agreed.
a lot of the reporting nowadays that just completely splits the internet wrestling fans in two. You know, you've got such tribalism, and I think a lot of that is down to the clickbait, straight up.
No, I'd agree. Right, but anyway, lads, that is just about enough on our Lord and Saviour.
Sorry, can I just punch
you
in
can,
for 1 minute again? So again, to go back to leadership again, is the amount of stuff that comes out of AEW, and from what I gather, like the books and people like that will go and give stuff to Dave and whoever else. Again, you know, where's Tony Khan stepping in and going, "Oi, knock that on the edge. You're a VP of this company. Catch you doing that again, and your contract will be terminated."
Yeah,
but
that's what you
again,
should
we
be
don't
doing.
see any. We don't see anything like that. You know what I mean?
No.
So,
Go on, Zane.
Nick, can I ask one question before we move on to the next
Of
topic?
course you
Like,
can.
a little spicy thing. Odds on CM Punk going to WWE. I really need to discuss this possibility.
It is a distinct possibility as long as Triple H is willing to take him in. But as Andy told me earlier on, CM Punk has a very, very respectable relationship with Endeavor because of his time in UFC, because Endeavor brought him into UFC, not Dana White. So as they now own WWE, I think there is a very high percentage chance that Triple H and Vince give him his job back, hand him a microphone and say, talk.
The way I see it, if Vince McMahon can set his issues with Bret Hart aside after 13 years and work with him together again, Triple H can do the same with Punk.
Yeah.
Did y'all see? There was I guess it was on Stone Cold's podcast where a long time ago, where Stone Cold asked him if he was okay with talking about Punk.
Yeah.
And Punk literally, Vince literally said, before I even get into it, I just want to make sure this gets out there. Him getting the termination papers, that's on the law side of things, and the law side of things and the talent side of things, they sometimes they're not working on the same page.
Yeah.
It was a complete accident, and he sincerely apologized for it. And I know Vince isn't the most trustworthy person, but he didn't need to say that.
No.
So I feel like that's worth noting when we're talking about a Punk coming back to WWE thing. But at the end of the day, a Punk full-time WWE run doesn't work anymore, in my opinion.
No.
He wants to come in, have a match at Mania 40, do the Hall of Fame thing, go in with Paul Heyman. awesome. I'm all for something of that along those lines, but
Yeah.
as far as a full, there's no way. It's just not happening.
No. I think you're right. I think he'll come in part-time, but I also think that WWE probably look at him and think, yeah, he's not done well over there because, you know, obviously the way they do things and stuff like that. I think maybe them getting him over there, they'll show, you know, look, we do things a bit differently over here. But if I was any WWE wrestler now, I'm sorry, but I'd be looking, thinking, yeah, there's the other option there. But if I'm the type of guy that likes things to be done properly, and I wouldn't be wanting to go over there.
Can I just ask a quick question just to go around the room? If we're talking like fantasy booking here, so let's pretend that we live in a world where CM Punk goes back to WWE, maybe he appears in the Rumble and he gets a match of Mania, right? Let's start with you, Nick, and go around clockwise. Like, who are you picking for the opponent? Dream match.
Cody.
Andy?
Yeah.
Grayson Waller.
Ooh.
That is a huge push for Grayson. I didn't know you liked him.
It is, but I believe the two of them will be really good on the mic, and I think, you know, if you get the Miz effect, you're going to get the Grayson Waller effect, and I don't think that Punk should be near the title scene enough, and so it'll be a good one for him to come into.
Yeah.
Same.
Cody, and here's the reason why. Because right before Cody left WWE, he got a promo in which he said that he basically did everything Punk set out to do in the Pipe Bomb, right? He went out, he created a company, he did on the Indies. So that's a great story to be told right there. So I think Cody versus Punk is a money feud.
Good answer. I was sure you were going to say Batista. How about you, Jim?
Stone Cold Steve.
He's old. And he's
you know what?
One of us had to say it. One of us had to say it.
Why isn't it possible? We saw him wrestle. He loves Punk too.
Yeah.
And also, can we just say that Stone Cold has actually rejected a number of offers from WWE because he wasn't interested in them. So,
gonna see him Punk offer, I guarantee it.
Yeah, he'd snap that up.
Personally, I would put Punk in there with Brock. Right? It's a big money match, and Brock is the kind of guy that will give Phil the win, which he will want.
I don't want to see him Punk lose into Dominic at WrestleMania. Man.
No. Dominic needs to drop like a title, a US title or whatever, to LA Knight and Mania. That's where that one's going.
Yeah. Eddie Kingston. Anything Eddie Kingston does is basically gold, right?
I don't think CM Punk can't go match in AEW.
You can't go wrong with Eddie Kingston.
I'll tell you what, mate, if that's his last match in AEW, him and Joe put on a great show.
And because of him going to AEW, I got to watch him live twice, which is something I didn't get a chance to do before. So I literally cannot be upset that.
No,
I was the same, Jim. I'd never seen him live before Wembley, so it was brilliant.
That's the thing. I never got to see him live. The fact that we may have now seen his last match has made it even more special.
Yeah, against Samoa Joe too, man.
I know. That's something. And I think the one thing people need to take away from this is, don't look at it from the negative point of, he's been fired, what are they doing? Look at it from the point of, thank you, CM Punk, for giving us the last year and a half of your life.
Thank you, Tony Khan, for making it happen. Honestly.
It's ended.
Thank you, Tony, for fucking it up.
I'd point the blame somewhere else, but
the only contention I have is that Punk's lost program/match wasn't for Eddie Kingston. That would have been gold. That should have been done. I think
it shouldn't have, mate. Do you know what? I was so gutted that Eddie Kingston didn't come past us on the stadium Plan P because it was a real fucking bar of soap. It's a scruffy bastard. But can I just say one last thing that I do want to say is about Tony Khan saying he was scared for his life. It's like, you little pussy. You've got how many wrestlers that you pay on the payroll all around you? And no disrespect to Punk, but he's not a big fella or anything like that. And, you know, it's like, I'm not being funny.
It's not like his UFC career went very well.
Yeah, mate, I'm not being funny. If he fucking jumped at me, I'd be like, all right, lads. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. You know, it's like, why is he going to kill you, mate?
Especially considering Samoa Joe was there to back him up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Samoa Joe was literally right there. He could have handled him.
Yeah,
he's got a job as a commentator. He's kept that job a while.
Yeah. I think Kelly has to say. I think there's so many caveats to this that I just think it's unfair to make it out like it's all Punk. I say doesn't communicate very well, but the circumstances and the way he found himself in, is there a bit fair? Not really.
I think the perfect way to explain it is you had a community of people who like to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and then you have this guy who wears his emotions on his sleeve and was not taking shit from literally anyone. It was bound to blow up.
Well, the
It's
way
the
I
thing
look-
that you could
the way I
imagine.
look
Do
at
you know
it-
the way I look at it? You could imagine, right? Like the Bucks, for instance, will walk past someone and go, "I," and then call them a prick to someone else. And like, you know, Punk's more of a, you know,
You're a gobshite.
the Bucks are a cunt, but Punk's an upfront cunt.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's probably the best way to put it. Is he, you know,
Nah,
he's upfront and honest with it.
And it's how he's always
the
been.
thing. The way I look at it is
Yeah.
that's the
What-
reason FTR, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson get on with Punk is because they are old school guys. The same way Punk is an old school guy. He doesn't buy into all this. Everyone hold hands, be happy, and get on because he wants to be at the top. Unless you want to be at the top, you shouldn't fucking be there in the first place.
Yep.
Right?
He said no F-bombs.
I changed my mind after Jimmy.
You
started.
made him so mad, Zane. He slipped up.
Nah. Anyway, right, lads, that is enough about our Lord and Savior CM Punk. Moving on to a show we have just watched this afternoon, lads. So I'm going to come to you first, Si. Payback. What do you think? What could have been improved? What was your favourite match?
Ooh, I personally would have given Nakamura the belt for a couple of minutes and then had Priest cash in. However, it was like, it was bog standard again. I think we've had a run of WWE pay-per-views now, PLEs, whatever you want to call them, where there's been nothing terrible. There's been no bad matches, but there's been like nothing exceptional either. You know, I think the Trish Becky match was pretty great. I think that's one of Trish's best matches of the
I
whole
loved
career.
Yeah.
The tag match was great. That spot that Owens did with the sense on, he just like literally landed on his ass. That was
And what a camera angle.
yeah, with the upside down dive.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And the main event was great. Nakamura's best match for quite a while. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, nothing mind blowing again.
Andy, you have been to the last couple of big WWE shows in Money in the Bank and Mania. How did Payback stack up to Money in the Bank from a visual standpoint, from a spectacle?
I thought Money in the Bank was better. I did. I thought it was better, but it was always going to be because no matter what, something happens because of the Money in the Bank matches. But it was what WWE do in the fact of these B-show pay-per-views, as people like to call them, is the wrestling was really good. The matches got good time to go. There wasn't too many matches on it, and overall it wasn't too long either.
Less
So,
is more.
you know, no complaints from me. Is you can't have every pay-per-view can't be, you know, debuts or something massive happens. And this was just a really good, enjoyable show. And for me, like, you know, with wrestling, especially at the moment, like, you know, people expect too much. People always want something to happen or something big to go on or something like that. Where, like, for me, that show done what it should always do, and it entertained me for 3 hours and made me forget about everything else in my life.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so Jimmy, from a positively awesome standpoint, what did you think?
It was a solid show. I mean, I look at it, it's Payback. It's a B pay-per-view, and they delivered a B show, but it was a solid show. There was no point of the show I watched was like, okay, I'm done with this. Every match delivered, in my opinion, some better than others. Obviously, that's how it's always going to be. I did expect a cash in at the end. I think they kind of alluded to it a little bit because Seth like kind of sat there for a long time.
Yeah.
They were going to the end. I'm like, okay, here comes Judgment Day, and I thought it would have been really fucking awesome. Apologize, but if Priest got that title and then they had literally all that gold to close out the show, I thought that would have been a great moment. But again, that's an expectation. I can't hold that against them. It was a good show. And like Andy said, it did its job. I watched it. I was entertained. I can't complain. That's why we watch it. So
what I said at the end, Jim, was that like if Seth is, you know, got the genuine back issues that we believe he has, could it be that they've delayed the cashing until Raw tomorrow? Because it's Labor Day, it's a big show. Could you see that?
I think Shinsuke attacked him after the show. And so they're clearly going to extend that a little bit. And I definitely feel like once the Shinsuke thing is over with, you're going to get the cash in. I think Judgment Day, there's still something going on with Judgment Day that we need to see where that's going. So,
Mm.
but
Okay.
again, yeah, the show was great, and best. I'm glad you gave Becky and Trish the nod. I think that was the best match of the night as well.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Great way to start the
Yeah.
show, and I'm glad they delivered because everyone had been complaining about the feud in general. So for them to go out like
Yeah.
that, it was great.
That was
Can I just say as well, real kudos to WWE because, like, over a month ago, Shinsuke Nakamura was just treading water nowhere, and the packages, the everything else, they made the match feel like it was important.
Oh,
and I thought
that
they did a
manga the
fantastic
manga
job
they
with it.
ran before
Yeah.
Shinsuke's entrance was mwah.
Can we give
Yeah.
Triple H his flowers for this? Because
Yeah.
we keep hearing, what has he done? In 2 months' time, he literally showed Vince McMahon how wrong he was about Shinsuke Nakamura that
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah,
Because
it's all we
Nakamura was a believable
Wasn't
threat
even-
to Seth
But the whole
Rollins.
thing
Right
is, Jim,
after
it
that-
wasn't even within 2 months. It was like 1 month or a couple of weeks.
He
One
built him
promo.
up with- he built him up with some
One
matches
promo.
prior, but
It was right after it also showed Vince how wrong he'd been with LA Knight for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's
Okay.
he's chipping
Zane.
away, he's improving. Yeah.
Zane, as our resident, writer, I use the term loosely. Right. What did you think of the show? If you were writing an article on this, which I'm assuming you are, what would you be pointing
I'm
out?
already.
would have been better with Eddie Kingston.
No, I
Why was there
I
no
generally enjoyed the show. Amidst all the CM Punk, I woke up to all the CM Punk news, and I honestly, after a bit, I just grew sick of it. So I watched Payback on delay. It's really hard to watch things live over here. It genuinely took me out of all that mess and made me feel happy for a while. So I'm not even going to approach this as a writer. I'm going to approach this as a fan. I genuinely enjoyed the show.
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Bakel Rodriguez. And I didn't mispronounce that. It's her new name, thanks to Andy, is Bakel. Right. She did a phenomenal job in the match with Rhea. I didn't think she was going to stand in there with Rhea as well as she did. Dom deserves all the props in the world for
MVP.
last night.
MVP.
Yeah.
He deserves, because realistically, Priest or Finn need to hand him the tag titles because he won them.
He's- That Damien's is
Can-
going to
can-
JD.
Yeah.
Can I just say as well?
That's what I said. Yeah, JD.
Can I just say as well? Do you know what Raquel Rodriguez or Bakel Rodriguez is? Do you know what her theme song's called?
Go on.
The Trap Queen.
Is that actually the case?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
what
name
it's
of her
called, mate.
music. As in your
the
traps.
Trap Queen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be worth
Oh,
it.
okay.
It could be the Gap Queen. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Wrong
think
show.
Rhea's got a better back than it.
Rhea's got a back like a demon.
No.
But
What has this
anyway,
podcast come to?
right. Well, lads, that's the show. We've gone
Wow.
through everything. Simon?
One more little thing to mention. I know it's a niche, but for anybody who's
Oh.
a fan,
I forgot.
Impact Wrestling have their 1000th episode this week, which is a pretty stacked show. Zane, would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah. So they've named it 1000 because of the number of viewers they've had over the years. I am sorry. I generally don't watch Impact. I mentioned this before the show started.
Nobody does. Nobody does. Zane. We're just,
No,
we're just
there's
trying to
a-
help. We're just trying to
There's a
help the
5-woman
lame
tag
horse.
match. There's a 5-woman
I'm
tag
sorry,
match featuring the one-off returns of, past stars like who's in that. I think Awesome Kong's coming back.
Jordan Grace.
Gail Kim's coming back. There's an Ultimate X
Isn't
match.
Osprey promoted for that?
Osprey's being promoted for Bound for Glory. I don't know if he's going to be
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Impact
He
1000.
could make an appearance. But for an Impact show, it's a milestone and it's worth checking out.
Yeah. Okay. So, Jimmy, Zane, tell the people where they can find you and what you do.
Zane, you
Find
can
me
go
living in
first.
Jim's head rent free after the entire CM Punk thing.
What?
You can find me. I was like, find me in Jim's head living rent free. You can find me. You can find me at Sportskeeda. I think, yeah, Sportskeeda. I write news articles. I write really informative pieces. I write great headlines, and they have amazing thumbnails as well. So if you ever feel like you're lagging behind on your wrestling news, you know where to come.
Okay, Jim.
You can find me over at the Drip King of Wrestling on YouTube. I have a show tonight, Positively Awesome. We were off last week. We'll be back this week. We'll be talking about who we would like to see John Cena feud with during this next 2-month run. We say our goodbyes and thank yous to Bray Wyatt. We didn't do it last week, obviously.
Yeah.
It was fresh and we weren't with it. And then we're just going to talk about other things we've enjoyed during the week, Payback, All In, all the stuff that we missed last week. So that's what we'll be tonight. And yeah, that's where you find me, Wrestle Buddy as well. But I am not doing much over there at the moment. I'm still on a little bit of a hiatus.
No worries. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've been Nick the Geek. That's been Andy. That's been Simon. That's been Jimmy. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. That's actually been Zane. We will see you next week.